Larry came up with the
We're live? Okay, wonderful. We are live, everyone. Okay, good evening. This is the regular meeting of the Suffern Central School District Board of Education for Tuesday, August 26, 2025. We are now recalling to order after our executive session, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, may the record reflect that all board members are present except for Mr. Tom Donnelly. We're now going to move on to item 1.07, which is the minutes of the regular meeting of July 29, 2025. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Mr. Shapiro, second. And Mrs. Bryan, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, an abstention from Mr. Andert. And now superintendent's comments.
Thank you very much. We are in the last week before school begins. So a couple of weeks ago, it was a nice quiet summer with us preparing for the upcoming school year. It's hit us like a ton of bricks right now. So we have had all sorts of things going on. Actually, this week and last week, we've had some new student orientations to our different buildings, which is very exciting. One of the big ones tomorrow is 9th grade orientation, and then some more middle school 7th and 8th grade orientation and locker experiences at the middle school on Thursday. So it's been great to see the students coming in. And of course, at the high school level, we've had plenty of students in for athletics as those seasons are now in full swing. We also have new teacher orientation. Dr. McCahill has been leading the charge on new teacher orientation. Today was day 2 of 3. Tomorrow, I believe, is a little bit more of can you call it the fun day for the teachers? So if they've been able to make it through first and second day, they can make it through third day. Nobody's running away scared yet. And I think there's the annual tour of Suffern Central, right, where the new teachers get on the bus. They visit some of the schools, they go up to Sloatsburg, a variety of the other villages, and meet some of the more distinguished individuals in those locations, and really get a sense of what the community is all about and not just where they're going to be teaching. So it's a great opportunity and experience. And then, of course, they have some other sessions tomorrow with some of our administrative team members who are providing them with more substantive orientation work. Last night, we had a tremendously successful blueprint strategic planning evening where we had members of our administration, our faculty, Board of Education members, thank you for being there, as well as a large contingent of parents and community members. We had about 65 to 70 people in the room last night. This room really working on what the direction of the school district should be over the next couple of years. And our next step now is on September 8th. Our administrative team is going to be collecting all the data from our facilitator, from the work that we did last night, from the thought exchange that went out in June and July, and are going to be working on action plans to address some of the goals that were established at last night's meeting. And of course, we'll have a full presentation when we are closer to sharing what that strategic plan blueprint looks like at an upcoming board meeting. The last thing I want to do this evening, besides remind all those folks that are tuning in, although I assume that if they're tuning in, they do know that school is starting next week. Next Thursday is our first day for students. Next Tuesday is our first day for staff members. And of course, every year we have to go ahead and review the code of conduct and review some of the modifications that are being made to the code of conduct. So I'm going to ask Mr. Mautone to go ahead and highlight some of the changes to our code of conduct. But before I ask you to go ahead and do that, just want to highlight one aspect of the code of conduct that is not completely in alignment with what we are doing right now, and that is namely the dress code. So the Board of Education is fully aware of the fact that dress code and our policy and how we address students if we have a perceived concern about how a student is dressed We're experimenting with that a little bit last year, and this year we are collecting data on it to see how prevalent of an issue this is at our different buildings. But the biggest difference right now is we have instructed our staff members that if they have a concern about a student dress that they may think may be in violation of the dress code, the teacher is not to go ahead and approach the student, but instead teachers have been instructed to email their building administrator, and the building administrator will then address the student in a more private format so as not to embarrass the student, and also collect data so that we can get a sense of what's happening with regards to dress code. So although in our code of conduct, we have, if you will, quote unquote, the old official policy, teachers have been instructed that we are going through this trial period to experiment with the dress code policy in hopes that later on this fall, after we finish collecting data, we will be adjusting the code of adjusting the dress code policy to be more reflective of what we are looking for. So, Mr. Mautone, if you can go over the official adjustments to the code of conduct, that would be great. Can you turn on your microphone?
Moved it in front of me. Hello. So most of the changes are what they call non-material changes, which is just cleanup language. So we model our code of conduct based on NYSBA's policy. And so our attorney, Suzanne Volpe, who works in Akina Bean, reviews it for us annually. So she goes through and makes suggestions. So some of the non-material would be an example on page 5, where it used to say work to develop mechanisms to manage their anger. Now it says work to develop skills to manage their emotions and reactions to resolve conflict with others. So a lot of it is just getting with the current language that we're using today in school systems. So the substantial changes are still those changes that are part of education law. So on page 2, where it talks about the code of conduct applies to students, school personnel, and parents while on school property or attending school function. It also adds or off school premises when it can be reasonably expected to material or substantially disrupt the educational process of the school environment. And so that's been in effect for the last few years in our policy, but now it's incorporated into our code of conduct, meaning even if it doesn't happen at a school function, but it's going to disrupt the educational process, we can still call students in under our code of conduct. The other material changes are just being current with the new cell phone ban. So there's language added in that describes that and describes what a internet-enabled device, which is added in there now, and then talks about conduct which prevents others from being able to learn, focus, or be engaged in their work. This is all under disruptive conduct and the use of any social media that has an adverse or disruptive impact on the educational process. So just the current language is being added in our code. And then some cleanup language where it might specify a specific person like the director of special education. It's changed to just a district administrator so that we're not stuck to one particular person being able to do that. But all in all, really the big ones are just the cell phone language and the other language. Some pieces were under one section are now moved to another section, which doesn't constitute a material change. It's just, again, NYSBA goes through, as you notice with our policies, sometimes if you're on the policy committee, they just change language, should to could or may to should, they go back and forth with those languages.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mautone. Thus concludes my superintendent's report.
Thank you. All right, we're now going to move on to public participation. This is on action items only. Action items are on our agenda tonight at 2.01 through 2.15. Is there anybody here to speak on any action items? No. Okay, we're going to close that portion of the meeting then and move on to our action items. Prior to asking for a motion for a consent agenda, is there any item that any board member would like to pull? Okay, great. At this time, do I have a motion for a consent agenda to approve items 2.01 through 2.15? Mrs. Hodge, second. Who was that over there? Oh, Mr. Andert? Okay, very good. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, very well. We're going to move on to board member comments then. Any board members have any comments tonight? No? Okay, well, I have comments. I always have comments. So I just want to say that earlier this month, I attended the Leadership and Education Conference in Albany that was put on by the New York State School Boards Association. And it was really excellent. I went to a lot of sessions and I met a lot of superintendents from around the state and other board members from around the state, some of who are dealing with very similar issues than we have here in Suffern. So it was nice to hear what they're doing to address it. And there were a lot of really pertinent topics. We talked about AI and media literacy. We had sessions on budget. And most timely, of course, was our strategic planning sessions and establishing a blueprint for your district, which certainly came in handy considering we went right from that into the strategic planning session that we had here in the district. So I want to thank everyone from the community who came out to participate, to our teachers and our administrators. They had a very significant role in making sure that the session went effectively and it was productive. And so I want to thank everyone who participated in that, made presentations, and facilitated many of the discussions. I want to welcome all of our new teachers to the district and say good luck. I will be one of the people you're meeting on the bus tour tomorrow. I think I'm going to be at Suffern High School. So hope you all have a good, safe ride. Seatbelts on, hands in the vehicle. And since this is our last meeting before school, I want to wish everybody luck. All of our new students moving into 3rd, 6th, and 9th. Hope you have a great orientation. And everyone else who's returning, hope you have a great year. And that concludes my comments. Anyone else from the board? No? Okay. All right. Then we're going to move on to public participation. This is on any district-related business. Is anyone here to speak on any district-related business? No. Okay. Then we're going to conclude that part of the meeting and go to superintendent's closing comments.
I'd just like to thank the board members. I know that in the summer, we're not always drawing large crowds and we don't have presentations and there isn't a lot that we're talking about of any significant consequence with the public because folks are mostly programmed to take a little bit of a break from school. But I know that I've interacted with many of you over the summer, so I want to thank you for your ongoing commitment to the work that we're doing here in the district. And I can assure you that once we start up in September with our board meetings, we'll be having more presentations, more things to talk about. We'll be right back where we left off in June with some action. So thank you for taking the time over the summer to continue this work. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Our next meeting is it September 9th? Tuesday, September 9th, 7:30 p.m., right back here in Hilburn. Everyone have a great last few days of your summer. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Mr. Shapiro, second. Mr. Bryan, all in favor signify by saying aye. 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 All right. Very well. See everybody on September 9th.